Hi everyone! Yes, I'm doing an ARRTX video again. They sent me another set of their acrylic markers to review. I'm gonna say right off the bat, I did not enjoy these as much as the other markers I've tried from them. I like them, but I have a few complaints. I will get into them later. This set has 48 colors, but in mine one was actually missing. I didn't lose it, the set came like that unfortunately. I'm not sure which color is missing. These are very different from the markers I've already tried. First, these have a bullet tip instead of a brush tip. 2, you have to shake and pump them before use. 3, they have more ink in them. And 4, they come with a few extra nibs, which is nice. These are also supposed to work on different surfaces like stone, glass, and cloth. I'm new to these kind of markers, so it took me some time to really get the hang of them. I definitely ruined a few sketches while trying them out. The color selection is pretty decent. There's also a golden and a silver, which I always welcome. But some colors look a little different from the cap. Another thing I noticed is after some time the tip tends to get a lot darker, and I display them caps up, not down, so it's not like the ink keeps flowing down into the tip or something, but wiping it with a paper towel helps. The ink itself is also different from the other markers. It's more liquidy and takes longer to dry, but it has more coverage in comparison to other markers. The colors go over each other better in my experience. For this video, I decided to fix this Anya from Mouthwashing drawing I started, but messed up and kind of gave up on it. It was the first thing I drew with these new markers, and it was definitely a mistake. I didn't swatch them, I didn't test them out in any way, and just jumped straight into coloring. The colors I was choosing weren't what I wanted, so I left it alone. That's actually what I've been doing in my sketchbook recently. There's a bunch of unfinished and empty pages in it that I skipped over and swore to come back to them later. And that's what I'm doing now. All of them at once. But after this failed drawing, I've scribbled with these markers, I've done a few finished drawings with them, so now I feel a lot more confident. Now I want to address something to do with ARRTX. I only recently found out that they have used AI on their website to promote their products. They took it down though, and it's not on the website anymore, but it's disappointing that they, as an art brand, did that in the first place. I'm glad it's down, and I hope they don't do that anymore, but it definitely left a sour taste in my mouth. It's unfortunate because I genuinely really like their products and use them all the time, but I also wanted to mention that as I think it's important. That aside, I've been really into Mouthwashing. If you don't know, it's a horror game that came out recently, and it follows a crew of 5 people on a spaceship trying to survive in not the best circumstances. I don't want to spoil anything because it's really worth it to play or watch it on your own, but there are serious and possibly triggering topics there, so be careful. Anya's story in particular really impacted me, and she's probably my favorite character from the game. There's a lot of hidden symbolism in the game as well. It's just a really well done and real story. But unfortunately, there's already a lot of people that completely misunderstand it. I'm like actually scared to look up any fan art of the game because a lot of it either goes against the game or is just straight up disgusting. If you are familiar with the game, you know it's one of those stories that really don't need romance or shipping or any of that stuff, unless you make your own character and add it to the story, or make an AU where the dynamics are very different, but a lot of people just take the characters the way they are in the game and ship them, and to me none of the pairings work at all, coming from someone who loves shipping. I've also seen a lot of ableism. One of the characters gets very injured and ends up severely disabled, and a lot of people treat him like a baby or a dog. Whether it's intentional or not, I find that weird. But among all of that, there's a lot of incredible art as well. Anyway, when I started coloring this, I was a bit lost and almost stopped, but introducing line art early on helped. With acrylic markers, you really have to trust the process. I'm used to doing line art first, then the coloring, but with these it's the opposite. It looks bad until you add the details in line art. For the usual sketchbook update, I actually rewatched my previous sketchbook tours to maybe get some inspiration. I might either redraw some of my old pages or use similar ideas. I'm just trying to lock in and finish those last pages. Something I noticed is that I've been having trouble drawing in my usual style on paper for some reason, but it's getting better. I'll do my best to finish the sketchbook at least by the end of the year. But back to the drawing. So I actually forgot that the hat is supposed to be red and yellow, not red and orange. I didn't have a reference in front of me, so yeah, just ignore that, please. I think her face turned out nice. I have trouble recreating my coloring style with acrylic markers, but this worked out pretty well. I also just love Anya's design. She was modeled after Shelley Duvall in The Shining, and the inspiration is noticeable. I love characters with these kind of faces. Coloring this took me almost an hour. I was a little lost at first. I also had to be very careful not to smudge the wet paint. I really wanted to turn the sketchbook around multiple times to get a better angle, but couldn't because I was filming. I don't really like recording myself like this. I like to take my time, turn the sketchbook like crazy, take breaks in the process. It's fun to watch back, but the process can be pretty tasking. Another thing I want to talk about is the next video. I asked you guys to send me your OCs so I could randomly choose some of them and draw them for a video. At the time of me recording this, I just chose 20 of them, and I'm really excited to start drawing them. I got a bunch of very different looking characters with different lore, so I think this will be a lot of fun. In the video, I actually want to test these out on a few different surfaces. So I have this jean fabric here, this saucer for glass, my sketchbook cover. I don't know why not, it's kind of like slippery and not all materials work on it well, so why not? And this doll base for plastic. By the way, look at this Kara Screams custom I did, isn't she so cool? I'm gonna be using these two. Okay, let's do my sketchbook cover first. Let's do like a... That's what I was talking about when you leave the marker alone for a while. It like, the paint just gets darker. This is so hard to do with one hand looking through a camera. This is an ugly star, but I mean, it worked. And now let's do white. Ooh, that's actually really nice. Okay, I mean, that worked. I pumped a little bit too much paint, so it's gonna take a little while to dry, but it worked. There, you can see it a little bit better. It worked pretty well. The purple is a little bit, like, patchy, inconsistent, because I didn't wipe it down first, but it works. Now let's do fabric. So, for the purple, I mean, yeah. It actually didn't show through on the other side, which I'm surprised by. And white. You might need to pump it like all the time to get a more solid color, but it might just be the fabric that I used. But with the white, it's not as like solid, not as opaque as the purple. I had to like pump it a bunch of times to get it to this, and they didn't transfer to the other side. So you can use these on fabric. I don't know how well they will work for like customizing your clothes. I don't know how well they will stay. I like to sometimes paint fabric when I'm making doll clothes, so these will work really well for me. But I don't know if they will work for, human clothes customizing. I don't know how well they will hold up in the wash and stuff. But for something like this, they work perfectly fine. Now, what I'm really interested in is how well it will work on glass. So let's see. Ooh, okay. That went on actually really smoothly. It's gonna take a while to dry, I'm sure of it, but yeah. Now let's do white. I don't know if it's just like my marker, but the white just gets dry so quickly. Okay, now we're talking. So yeah, these go on glass really well, but I'm gonna leave them to dry and see like how well they hold up. I hope they wash off because my mom's gonna kill me. And now let's do plastic. Okay. See what I'm talking about? It's like, it gets dry. I don't know if it's just how white markers work or what, because why do I have to constantly pump you? You see? Like, it just gets dry so quickly. I don't know if it's just a white marker problem or what, because it... Whoops. That's not good. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave these to dry and see how they hold up. I'll be back in a few minutes. So I'm back. I think these are dry mostly. Here as well. So I'm just gonna do like a scratch test, I guess. Okay, yeah, that was not very pleasant. Ooh, Ooh, I don't like that. That, ooh, that gives me the shivers. Oh, I hated that. Okay, here. I don't even know what I'm trying to, like, test with this. Like, obviously it's gonna scratch off because it's not sealed at all. On the sketchbook, it's dry. Nope. Here it's not budging at all, so that's cool, I guess. So you can use these markers on different surfaces. I don't know how long lasting it will be, but for some simple customization, I think it can work really well. Also, I actually have used other ARRTX markers on my doll customs. For example, on Skara's face here, I used also ARRTX markers, but just from a different set. On her bracelets as well, on her vest, skirt, and her tights. So in the end, I did enjoy these markers. They do have some issues for me, but I still think it's a decent product. They work well on different surfaces, though I couldn't try it out on stone. I definitely am going to use them, but they're not going to be my primary choice, that's for sure. I just prefer smoother coloring with a lot of tiny details, and these markers aren't meant for that. But they are great for maybe big portraits or backgrounds. Also, you gotta have an extra piece of paper nearby to swatch and pump them. The paint can sometimes spill out if you press them too much, and that can ruin your drawing. And if you layer them too much, they do show through on the other side of the paper, so keep that in mind as well. As I mentioned, the white marker dries out fast. I didn't have that issue with any other color, so I'm not sure if I did something wrong, or it's just a thing with white markers. I know that some colors might perform differently in general. As for the drawing, I like it. I'm glad I went back and fixed it. Usually I would just completely cover it up with a different drawing or do a collage or something. Hopefully I can finish this sketchbook by the end of the year. I'm tired. But this is it for this video. Thank you for sticking around. Hope you enjoyed this. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. Check out my other socials. They will be on the screen and in the description. Stay safe, and I'll see you in another video. Bye!